I think we all could probably agree that facts do matter. And I just quickly wrote down all the lies. First of all, he said, quote, all prices are coming down. I just want to remind everybody that inflation has gone up for the fifth straight month in a row. He bragged about job growth.
Inflation's not prices, though. Inflation,
okay, but he said
inflation is
I understand that, but
prices.
inflation has gone up 5 months in a row. And by the way, all prices are not coming down. Just ask people that go to the grocery store. There are some, eggs and some other things, but not all prices are coming down. Also, he bragged about the job growth. We had some of the worst private sector job growth. It has been abysmal. He talked about unemployment, which is incredible because when Joe Biden left office, it was at 4.1%. It's now at 4.7%. So he lied about that also.
Isn't there the reason that the unemployment is higher is because of a lot of the cuts that have been made to the government?
That's a part of it. But when you say that the unemployment numbers are at all-time high, or all-time lows, it's a lie. And when he talks about peace in the Middle East, he said that, and then the next day, Hamas and Israel broke the ceasefire agreement. There is not peace in the Middle East. Hamas was going door to door executing people.
I can kind of get behind that one. We finally solved the 3,000-year-old
executing
war.
Palestinians, right?
He said that there was peace in Gaza.
No, but
there is not peace in Gaza. There is not peace in the Middle East.
But that's not war with Israel anymore. That's Gaza executing Palestinians.
But when you say there is peace in the Middle East, and when Israel breaks a ceasefire and Hamas breaks a ceasefire, that is not my definition of peace. When he keeps saying
but again, I think that what you're talking about is a different thing. Hamas is killing Palestinians. That's not. I mean, unless you're making the argument that Hamas is actually having a war against Palestinians. Or war on their own people.
When somebody says there's peace in the Middle East.
Again, if you're talking about Hamas killing Palestinians, that's not war. Okay, that's Hamas killing Palestinians because that's essentially the governing body,
right?
Because they've been elected in Gaza. But that's Hamas killing their own people. That's not
my definition
war.
of peace in the Middle East would be not breaking a ceasefire, which Israel and Hamas did. There is not peace in Gaza, like he said. He also said we're giving all these tax cuts, the biggest in American history. Well, he mentioned the big and beautiful bill, and I mentioned $100 billion in tax cuts this year to the top 1%. And he also said checks are on the way. I remember Doge saying that we were all going to get $5,000 checks. Do you remember that when Trump was bragging about that? Did you guys ever get that check? I never got a $5,000 check from Doge, but I'm sure those checks are coming. And then he mentions healthcare.
So but you're saying that that's not going to happen, but you can't really say that it's a lie if he's talking about something in the future.
Well, I've named you a few lies, but now I'm going into some things
you said let's list all his lies. You're saying that the future is going to be a lie. So I don't know that the checks are on their way or not.
I believe that's a lie. I don't believe we're getting checks that are on the way.
We're not getting them. I'm not in the military, but he said that it's going to military.
I understand.
members.
I just don't believe anything he says.
Well, I mean, then
he says
you could wrap it all up by just saying, well, everything was a lie.
I want to pay. You're going to be paying for your own health care. Can you tell us what that plan is? How exactly are we going to be doing that? It's funny how he doesn't have a plan, right? He just says everything's going to be great. You're going to pay for your own health care. Okay. Well, how are we going to go about in doing that? I thought that the Republicans...
Well, generally, the president doesn't actually come out and say, oh, here's the details of the plan when he makes an announcement like that.
Well, he did say that in his first administration. Remember when he said the plan is coming in a month, the plan is coming in 2 weeks, the plan is coming in 2 months?
Again,
he said that multiple times.
There have been multiple presidents that would announce a program and then they wouldn't get into the details.
Right, but
that's pretty standard fare for a president.
I don't think it's standard for a president to bitch and complain about a policy put forth by the Democrats in Obamacare and then not have a replacement plan in 9 years. That is not a serious policymaker, and we all know that. The country is stronger than it's ever been before, he said.
Talking about the military.
According to the military, maybe, but according to the parameters of where the economy is at and many other factors,
he was talking about it in the context of the military.
Okay, well, I would also argue that there's a lot of people within the military and a lot of people that feel like they've committed war crimes with these boats that we can get into.
But that's not talking about whether or not the military is strong, and you're the one that's saying that this is a lie.
He didn't say the military is stronger than it's ever been. He said the country is stronger than it's ever been. So when I hear a president say the country is stronger than it's ever been, I don't think he's just referring to our military. I think he's referring to go ahead.
The definition of the word strong, it was, if we're going to break this one open, would be like, what did he mean and how is it? How accurate is it?
And this is what Donald Trump always does when it comes to gas prices, for example. Any president could do this. He picks a few states in the country where gas prices are low, okay? And he makes it sound like the gas prices are $2.50 across the country.
He specifically said in some places,
right.
like it's not
but
like he was saying,
"Oh,
they're
the
just
national average." Then why do you
the
have
national
to pick
average
apart?
is lower now than it was last year?
I understand it is, but what he does is he picks apart certain states to make it sound like everyone's doing hunky-dory great. Now, if you talk to the American people, most people in this country are not happy with the economy. They're not happy with the unemployment numbers.
They're happy with lower gas prices.
National
average lower gas prices too.
But if you ask in most polls, and are you happy with what Donald Trump is doing when it comes to the economy?
But you were talking about gas prices.
Specifically right there, I was talking about how he picks apart a few states here and there and says the average price in these states is $2.50. And the point that I'm trying to make is, okay, if you want to give the national average out and take credit for that, fine. Even though I would argue that I don't think any president controls the gas prices. In fact, during Joe Biden's administration,
if he doesn't control the gas prices, then why are you bringing it up?
I'm bringing it up because he likes to pick apart certain states in the country where gas is $2.50, which I think is very disingenuous.
Presidents always
to
do
the
that.
argument.
They're making an example. He's saying, well, this is an example of the good things that my administration
again, this is what Donald Trump does, and
all presidents do
illegal immigrants. He was complaining about illegal immigrants going to the ER. Let me ask you guys a question in the big and beautiful bill, since he thinks that's a huge issue. In the big and beautiful bill, 20 million Americans are going to lose their Medicaid coverage. What's going to happen when those Americans lose their health care coverage? Where do you think they're going to go?
Do with illegal immigrants?
I'm trying to explain it to you. Where do you think they're going to go when they get sick and they can't afford their medicine?
Everyone goes to the ER when they get sick.
Right, exactly. So if you have 20 million Americans that are going to be losing their Medicaid coverage, I think we could agree a lot of those Americans that need insulin and other things, they're going to get sick. They're going to go to the ER. Who pays for that?
Do you go to the ER if you need to get insulin?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you can't, and I'm a diabetic, so I can tell you this for sure. There have been times where I didn't have insulin on me, or it got stolen, or it got lost. The first thing that I do is go to a quick care or an ER and say, hey, I need insulin. My blood sugar is blah, 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 blah. I know this from experience. If people can't afford their insulin, they're going to get sick.
But you're getting if you have to take insulin, you have to take it every day, multiple times a day, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure,
so I mean, do you think they're just going to like live at the ER?
Do I think
hang
they're going
out there
to
constantly? They're like, I'm just here because this is where I can get
I didn't say they're going
insulin.
to live at the ER, but what I did say is a lot of these people are going to get sick that desperately need their health care coverage, and the American taxpayer is the one that's going to pay for it when they don't have health care.
The American taxpayer already pays for anyone that goes to the ER that doesn't have health care.
I understand that, but when 20 million Americans are on Medicaid right now, many of those Americans are going to get sick. They're not going to be able to afford their medications. They're not going to be on health care coverage, and the American taxpayer is the one that's going to have to pay for it.
That's why the American taxpayer is paying for Medicare.
Well,
I understand.
This is also why, is also why this speech was directionally correct, because the main thing he was hitting on was the success of the tariffs and the success of his immigration policy, his deportation policy. And a good way to free up resources, obviously, with emergency rooms is by removing people from the country that shouldn't have access to those.
So do you think if you're an undocumented immigrant in this country and you're deathly ill that we shouldn't help you in an ER? You shouldn't get health care coverage?
No, you shouldn't be in the United States.
You shouldn't be in the United States.
Right, but I'm just asking you in general. Obviously, we're not going to get rid of every undocumented immigrant that's here.
Why not?
Right. I'm saying
So that's
why I said it's the best way to free up resources.
You think if you're living here 20 or 30 years,
if you're an illegal immigrant, you should be sent
again,
home.
You're arguing
so
that's
no
not
pathway to citizenship, even if you're someone who
if you're
served in this country or somebody else.
If you serve in the military, you have a pathway to citizenship. First of all, second of all, if you're an illegal immigrant, you should be sent home. Yes.
So I disagree with you. I think there should be a pathway to citizenship, especially for those that are nonviolent criminals that have lived here for decades that pay taxes. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, so then we disagree about that.
But going back to the Medicare stuff,
but like you said, either way, the American people are going to pay for it either, whether they're paying for Medicare or they're paying for them going to the emergency room. The American people are paying for it. So it's not really.
He didn't bring up Venezuela. He didn't bring up the boat strikes. He didn't really go into detail about any health care plan. And we know the Obama subsidies, which, by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, 7 Republicans voted to extend the Obama subsidies. He didn't address that issue.
The Democrats made them end this year. The Democrats voted in the bill that made them end this year.
Okay, so, but Mike Johnson announced yesterday that they don't have a plan. So if you don't have
the Democrats had a plan to make them end,
right?
Which is so it's in the Democrats' ball, and the whole ACA is because of the Democrats. So the idea that this is somehow the Republicans' fault. Now, granted, the Republicans saying, "Hey, we're going to repeal and replace," they should have done something about it, but they haven't. But even though that was the case, like they're the ones that actually started Obamacare, and it has been a disaster. And the fact that they voted for this to end is on the Democrats as well.
It is the duty of the president, in my personal opinion, when you are for 9 years bitching about.
It's the duty of Congress to pass bills.
But Donald Trump is the guy in his first administration that said time and time again, here's the plan. We're going to have a plan in 2 weeks. We're going to have a plan in a month. The point that I am trying to make is even if I disagree with the plan, show us what the plan is. Come up with some ideas. Mike Johnson said, we've been working really hard on a plan. What the F have you guys been doing for years? Okay, Donald Trump was in office first go around. Where is his plan? That's all. I had this debate with Tim Pool when I did his show a few months back. It's okay to disagree with a policy. Come up with solutions. It's your duty to do so. The Republicans run the House and the Senate. Come up with a plan.
Well, I mean, he said that part of his plan now is to have direct payments, I guess, to the American people.
Well, let's see it. I'm all for ideas.
Okay. Well, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, like I said.
You understand what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be unreasonable here.
Well, like I said earlier, that like it is very normal for a president to go to the people and say, this is the idea that I have, and then the plan
that's what
will
Barack
come out
Obama
later.
did. Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. That's what Donald Trump was doing tonight. He was saying, look.
What has he been doing for 9 years?
I don't know, but well, like I said, the Republicans should have, but this is something that the Democrats have voted for. Like they wanted these subsidies to end. That was a Democrat plan. The Democrats created the ACA in totality. The price of healthcare has done nothing but skyrocket since the ACA. And this is not the fault of the Republicans. This is something that the Democrats own.
I believe it's the responsibility of the Republicans when you complain about policy and you are a policy maker to come up with some ideas or solutions.
It is
that
the
can
fault
replace
of the people that actually passed the bill. The ACA was passed by a supermajority
come up
of
with another bill. Give me another solution.
You know what I'd like to see? I don't like when people get chronically ill from eating toxic foods or like sugar, and then they go and they're like, now I have to pay tax money for them to get like ibuprofen or something when they could just be eating broccoli. And so I don't want to pay for chronic health care.
I hate broccoli.
Of course, it's killing things in your body that you're probably addicted to, that you're telling yourself.
Hold on, let me rephrase it. With cheese, give me a little salad dressing on there, some ranch.
Yeah, with cheese. Broccoli with cheese is amazing. And so is cauliflower.
At the end of the day, this is a very boilerplate kind of thing, right? Like he got up there and he talked about his policies that he wanted to see push forward in the future. He's talked about the things that he sees that he's done well. So I mean, I understand, you're here to counter signal Donald Trump and you don't like Donald Trump at all and stuff. But
there's a lot of people that are struggling. You would agree with me, right? There's people.
Sure, there's always a lot of people that are struggling.
He made it sound like everything is great.
Well, that's how presidential addresses work. I mean, Bill Clinton gets up and he's like, guys, we're doing terribly, actually. Like, you should probably vote me out.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.